Hey everyone, this is Mike Andes, and you're listening to episode 126 of the Business Bootcamp podcast. Today, we're talking about how to scale a motocross and motorsports business, and we're talking about more on the Business Bootcamp podcast, episode 126. First off, say a big thank you to our sponsor for today's episode, which is landscapebusinesscourse.com. If you want to start or grow a landscaping company, check it out. We're going to walk you exactly how to go from $0 to $100,000 a month, every single month in revenue, landscapebusinesscourse.com. All right, now let's go ahead and play a video that came in on Facebook from Chris Garland over in Kentucky. Chris left a message via Facebook. You can private message me on Facebook, remember? And you can also, on Twitter, leave me a video just by using @TheBizPodcast. That's @TheBiz, B-I-Z, podcast. And I will find you, or send me a video, just email, but it's on Facebook too. So if you do check out on Facebook, remember you gotta look for the orange logo, because Facebook, for some crazy reason, it doesn't allow me to get onto our old Facebook page. But leave me a video question, and that's like the best way to guarantee yourself getting on the show live and being able to see exactly what I say on the episode. So send videos, and if you're watching or listening to this on iTunes or in any sort of audio form, make sure you check out YouTube or on Facebook. I live stream these videos. Okay, without any further delay, let's roll this video. This is Chris over in Kentucky. Here we go.
Hey Mike, my name's Chris Garland. I own CR Power Sports here in Murray, Kentucky. My partner Richard Hutchins also is in business with me. Been listening to your podcast for a while now, and really done a lot of good sound advice on it. And I just want to ask you a quick question this morning. We are open about 2 months now. Things are going good. We do retail sales of parts. We do service work in the shop, and we also buy used ATVs, fix them up, resell them for profit. We are currently in a stall. We're not getting a whole lot of stuff coming into the shop. We've been doing Facebook marketing as our major source of marketing. We're trying to self-fund everything, so not a whole lot of money in the budget for marketing. Just looking for some other ideas. We looked at some paper ads that are very expensive in our area. Word of mouth, trying to get that out and getting the cards out. We've been trying to go to some events, some motocross races, things like that. Found out that most of those are not local people coming, they're family members of the racers and were from other states, so it wouldn't do much good for marketing the shop and things like that. Just wonder if you had any other ideas. I know you have a service-based business also with a landscape, and just wondering if you give us some ideas what we could do to help grow our service shop area where most of our profits made on the shop hours, things like that. The bikes are going good. We sell regular bikes. Once we have them in stock, we have financing set up through a local company for that. Seems to be doing very well. Just slow to get units in and get them back out. It's hard to find them at a good price now. But we're wanting to grow the shop area and have our mechanic more busy with outside work as opposed to our work we're bringing in for repair. Just give me some feedback on that if you would. I appreciate it very much. And thanks for all your advice on your podcast, and look forward to reading your book soon.
Chris, thank you very much for that question that came in on Facebook. Like I said, love to hear your videos. Everyone out there on how to start, grow your business, I will answer every single question. All right, now, Chris, I do have some advice, or my advice, like I always say, just my opinion, just one other person. I don't have a ton of experience in your industry and things like that, but I really feel like I could be kind of put in any industry, or like sell any sort of product and just put some basic business principles and marketing tools into that company and be able to scale it up. And so that's like what I want to do long term. I talked about in the last podcast episode. And so these are just some of the thoughts that I had when I did some research on your business, Chris, and just some thoughts that I had. So first of all, a website. So right now you do have a Facebook presence. It's good. You post on there pretty often. You have great pictures. What I like is when things are selling, you take pictures of them. But you need to create a website. And it doesn't need anything fancy, but it needs to be something that you can start posting to, and that people can find you easier when they start searching in your local area. to be able to see what you do exactly and what types of service and have pictures and be able to that sort of thing. I think that's super important for people that are in your local area, or if they come in and they're vacationing and ATVing and four-wheeling or dirt biking and they search out for a service shop that you're going to come up. I would be, as a consumer, if I searched for something like servicing my vehicle or something and they had a Facebook page only and not a website, I would be less inclined to use them. And it's really just about perception of value. And so some of the stuff I talk about is really just perception of value. But like, you do a good job on your Facebook page. Like I said, you take pictures of when quads and things are selling. What I would recommend doing is putting the person that bought it on the bike and then trying to tag them in the Facebook post. And so what that's going to do is all their friends are going to see it. And if they're into four-wheeling, it's a good chance that a lot of their friends are also going to be into that same type of industry. Essentially, they're possible customers for your business. So I would try to tag people. If they don't have Facebook, I would text them a picture, like get their cell phone number and text them a picture. Because guess what? They're gonna text. That's the picture they're gonna use for their profile picture, and they're gonna text that to other people and all that stuff. So optimally, you want the person on the machine that you're selling when you take that picture. I like how you did it in front of your sign, so it has their contact information. That's good. And then tag them so that all their friends see them on it, that they bought it. They can congratulate them, give them thumbs up, like the whole bit. And you get all the social proof as part of doing that. And so highly recommend that you do that. And that's for everyone out there. You got to remember that if the people that are buying from you have their following or like their friends on social media or people that they're associated with probably like the same things they do or have the same interests and hobbies and would like your product and service. So if you can attach tag them, get their social media, and they friend you back and like all that stuff, you get all that social proof going. It's extremely valuable. Because if you can get a picture of them on a four-wheeler and you tag them and it goes onto their social media feed and they share that, and even if they don't, their friends are going to see it because you tagged them in the photo. And then what's going to happen is by doing that, and then they they put a thumbs up on it or they like it on Instagram, if you do Instagram, which I think you should, because it's picture based. And so once that happens, as soon as the person that's on the bike likes it or puts a heart on it, they've essentially told their entire audience, I'm recommending this service or this place that I bought this machine from. So I'd recommend doing that for everyone out there. All right, so a few more things specifically for you, Chris. I dug a little deeper into your question and things because I like the fact that you send a video, and when I start, this is like when you send a question in, and it's like everything in your business, you are selling yourself to some point, right? Like if I can see Chris, because he sent me a video, and I have some contextual understanding of him as a person, I've built a relationship, even though like not face to face, but like I see him. It's way more personable than someone that just sends an audio or an email. I have so much more context just seeing Chris and be able to see his logo in the background because he's sitting in front of it. So that's why I like to have videos come in for questions. But anyways, I would spice up your logo on your sign. The logo that's behind you looks like it's, I think it might be some sort of a sponsor, like a different racing company. I don't know that for a fact. But I would try to spice up your logo and your sign out front. I would make it big. In fact, I would try, shows how much I look into these questions. I would make sure that from Sycamore Industrial Road, which by the way, that's from Workman Motor Company down the street. From their parking lot, you should be able to look down your street and see your sign, and it should say, CR Power Sports Sales and Service. That's what it should say. And the reason I think that's important for Chris and for everyone out there that is in the same situation is you don't have like prime real estate. You don't have a whole lot of traffic coming down your road. And I looked on it on Google Maps on Street View and things, and you don't have like prime real estate. And that's not a bad thing because you're paying way less in your monthly rent. And if you're bootstrapping this, that's important. So it's not a negative thing all the time. Obviously, you'd rather have an interstate or like a 4-lane, really, on next to a mall strip or something like that, like where there's lots of traffic, and you don't have that. So you need to make a big sign. It needs to be like a very graphic, like what you have right now. Your sign, it has like the little ATV 4-wheeler, but it doesn't scream like professional to me. Like if the logo that you're sitting in front of in your question, Chris, that screams professional to me. That yellow, that black and white, like it's the whole. It gives the entire feeling of motocross and motorsports and ATVing and outdoors. So you don't want a cartoon for your logo. You want it to be something bold and really represent the industry that you're in. Like our company, Augusta Lawn Care Services, our color choice is yellow, green, and brown. Green is very eco, brown is about trust, yellow is about vitality. And so like those are the traditional in our industry. And then even like the accents in our logo, it's about trust, like it invokes feelings of trust. But it's all around like the green, that's the main color because we're about eco, we're about being outside and the grass and trees and things like that. So your logo is important. And I think this is important that when people drive by, like, wow, that's a serious motorsports place because their logo, invokes that feeling. And I think that's important, especially if you don't have a lot of traffic, that every person that goes by, they remember you as the motorsports place. So that brings me to my next part, which is because you aren't in the best of locations as far as, not next to a main drag or a highway or a shopping mall or an area where there's lots and lots of foot traffic or cars driving by. Because of that, what you need to do is you need to create what I like to call experiential shopping, or what some people call destination shopping or whatever. And what that means is you want to make your store or your area that you're selling stuff an experience. So it goes beyond just the physical buying of product or buying a 4-wheeler or buying a motorbike. It goes now like people come there to experience motocross and experience what it means to be outdoors on a motorsport and doing motorsports. And so what I would recommend you do, I looked at where your shop is at right now, and I couldn't get a great picture because Google Maps it was dated as like 2012. But I kind of think I know where your shop is right now. And what I would try to do, I don't know how much space you have there, to be honest with you, Chris, but I would do, if I had that whole gravel area that I was looking at, is I would literally create like a mini oval racetrack, a dirt racetrack, and so that literally you allow people to get, like, obviously they need a sound waiver, but you would allow them to come in and just like test drive stuff, and maybe even go over some like bumpy things and maybe a small jump or something like that. Because now people come to experience motorsports. They don't come to buy motorsports. They come to experience it. This is important for everyone out there. If you have a bakery, you want people to come because you want them to experience what it's like to smell the bread and see it being made and see it being put in the oven and all of that. Like, that's what all about, like the fire pizza places, like where you see the pizza going inside the fire. Like, it's probably pretty much the same as putting it in an oven, but it's the experience of actually seeing it go in there, and or those barbecue pits where you see it turning the pig like over the fire. Like, it's all about experience. And so I think that's important for you, Chris, if you can create where people are coming there, even if they don't buy, but they get a feeling of like, if I ever want to do, like, that was so fun, if I ever want to do that again, if I ever want to buy my own, I'm going to go there. Because that was the first time I had an experience, or that was, like, people remember experiences. And I think as we get more and more into this digital age, experiences are going to be what sell. And because it's what's memorable. People forget ads, they forget promotions, they forget products, they forget slogans, but they remember experiences. Like, why do you think World Series tickets were $2,000 just to get in the door and out on the bleachers in center field? and up to 50,000 to get a good seat down low. It's because people want experience. Like, they could have sat at home and watched that on some network and maybe even got like better footage and image quality and all that stuff and be able to see people up close. But they were there for the experience. And I think we, as retailers, that's super important to create a shopping experience where people come as a destination to come to your place. Like, Cabela's and Bass Pro have this down. People literally come to their store just to look around, walk around. Because of an experience, it's a destination. People will stop off the highway just to come and see the store. And that's what I think you need to be doing, Chris, is where people being to tell their friends that, man, that was so fun. I went there and drove this brand new quad or this motorbike. And guess what? That friend just happens to be in the market for wanting to buy one. So that's what I would recommend. Make a shopping experience that is far above just a retail transaction where there's a bunch of bikes or four-wheelers sitting out next to the road. Obviously, that needs to happen. But you could also create, like I said, a mini racetrack, a dirt racetrack inside of that gravel area if you have the space. Something like that. Even if you don't have something like, even if you just have a store place, like a place in your store, like where people buy stuff, whether this is Chris selling parts and things, or this is a bakery or a shopping, a clothing store, a shoe store. Regardless, when people even just come into a small little retail space, you can make it an experience. By the way you decorate, and by the way you have your customer service, and the way you treat your customers, and you want to try to get their name, and the way you make it social, and then you try to get that onto social media. Like all of that stuff makes it a destination experience for your customers, okay? So that's important. Now, that all goes to say a few more things for you, Chris. First of all, I would look into selling new ATVs and motorbikes. I saw a lot of used ones that you got, and that's good, but if you got new ones, your profit margin would be less. So like on new, like when I say new, I mean like from dealer, like Honda, or like there's so many different companies, Yamaha, all of these that make these four-wheelers and the motorbikes and all that. Like, get the new ones, even though your profit margin, like they only give you like 3 to 10% commission on those, but it gives you, like I said, this image of being high quality. And if you just have used stuff, like, it just doesn't give the value proposition or perception to the consumer. That's why like dealerships get higher profit margins on their used cars, because they have a whole bunch of new cars, then they have these lower priced used cars, but they actually make way more money on the used cars. But it's actually the new vehicles that draws everyone's attention in. Okay? Now if you take those exact same used cars and put them on a used car lot where all there is used cars, their price will be significantly lower. Alright, so what you want to do is create this two-tiered value system, like where you have this new premium $10,000, $15,000 motorbike and quad, or you can get this used $5,000, $6,000 quad, and you can mark up your used stuff higher just because you have this higher product value that is an upsell for people. And so they start comparing used versus new, but just having the new stuff there increases the perceived value and increases the perceived quality of your entire business and all of your products. So even if, and the thing is, if someone buys something new or they buy used, like, they're gonna come back to you for service. And so I think if you focus on sales, you're actually gonna boost your service end of things, where you actually are fixing things and making more profit right now. You're gonna boost that by selling more. The more you sell, the more they're going to come back to you for oil changes, and they broke their muffler going off a jump, and they bent in their fender or whatever, flat tire. Like, that all will come if you make sales. Like, the place where we get all of our mowing equipment from, they are really sales centric. Like, they really focus on sales, but I know they make their money on the service end, because they're only making 3 to 5% on commissions from like Honda, Husqvarna, Gravely, and all these companies for their like the mowers and things. But they know that if I buy the big mower, guess who I'm going to come to for the service and when things break, and for new blades every couple months, and for oil all the time. Like, seriously, that's where they make their money. And that's where they make their profit margin. But you've got to make the sale first, get the customer, and they will come back to you for servicing that ATV or that bike consistently over and over and over again. Now, we talk about sales and service, and like I just mentioned, your service is where you're going to make your profit, but you got to focus on the selling part because they're going to come back to you. This comes down to the next thing. I was looking through your Facebook feed, and I saw that you charge $45 an hour for your shop time. I think if you do all the things I just mentioned about making a shopping experience, having new equipment that you're dealing, so like when I talk about new equipment, I mean like contacting Honda or Yamaha or whatever, the brand that you like, and actually becoming a supplier, having them as a supplier and you as a distributor for them, right? Lower profit margins, but when you do that, you can now increase that perceived value, increase that destination shopping experience, and guess what? You can raise your shop price. You got to get your price off $45. I think you can get up to $60 if you do all those things. Have the website, have social proof, like when you're tagging people on social media with new products, and you create a dirt track where people are showing up. Like, that's all creating customer loyalty too. Just having that racetrack out there where people can come and ride bikes around and test things out and, you know, really get their hands dirty on something before they actually buy it. Like, if you get someone on a dirt bike that is even interested, like if they're in the market and you get them on a bike, riding, going over a jump or two, they're gonna buy the thing. Because it's a whole lot better than going to any other store where they just have to look at it, maybe sit on it. They can't even hardly start it sometimes. Like, they're actually going to be able to jump or, like, go on a side curve with dirt. You know, that's what they're going to want to do. And if you can get them on a bike, man, it's like the car salesman. He knows, like, his chance of selling a car goes through the roof if he can get them on a test drive. And so I think if you can do that, you know, that's where you're going to make your money. And when you make the sales and you create the new, have the new ATVs and motorbikes there, and you have the experiential shopping, and you have the nice logo, and you have the nice sign, which is all investing. I know it's money. I know this isn't like an instant fix. But if you have all that, you can raise your shop prices to $60 per hour. Promise you. I promise you. Okay, so it's all about perceived value. Remember, folks, people make a transaction takes place when value exceeds price. So instead of trying to focus on lowering your price in order for the transaction to take place, focus on raising your value, and your price will never be a problem. This is Mike Andes on the Business Bootcamp Podcast, episode 126. Thanks so much. I'm signing off.